The most current example of where you are, what you're doing, and how it's helped these refugees.
RET was founded in 2000. We've just recently celebrated our 10-year anniversary, and we are working in Africa, in Latin America, and in South Asia, in Afghanistan specifically. In Africa, we are working with the Darfur refugees in Chad, and in Burundi, we are working in the last 6 years with the repatriating refugees, the returnees, and the host communities in the provinces where the highest rate of return is taking place, or has been taking place for the last 5 years. And we had previously been in Tanzania working with both the Burundian and the Congolese refugees. We're also launching in DRC Congo, in Eastern Congo, in South and North Kivu. And previously we had worked in Congo ROC, in Brazzaville, Imfondo, and Lukalele areas. In addition, we are based in Kenya, Nairobi as our African headquarters, and we are based in Latin America and in Haiti. In Latin America, we are based in Colombia, in Ecuador, in Panama, Costa Rica, with regional offices based out of Panama, so we can work much more closely with the United Nations and the international community. And we are working mostly in Latin America with those who have been displaced based upon all the various issues in Colombia, including political issues with the FARC and the paramilitaries, as well as issues related to the narco-trafficking. So there are many refugees in Ecuador, Panama, and Costa Rica related to this specific issues in Colombia. In addition, we are working in Haiti post-earthquake. And in total, in the last 10 years, we have helped over 500,000, 500,000 students and teachers worldwide. And we are concentrating on post-primary education, classical secondary education, vocational training, livelihoods, human rights, rights of children, women's rights, and good citizenship in order to be able to enhance their education and background in peace education specifically, so that we can avoid the future conflicts. And they have become routine modules in all of our programs around the world. So we believe very strongly that peace education is mandatory.
How would a situation like what's happening in Libya sort of, play out?
For us, and I can say that Darfur refugees are somewhat analogous in terms of a model of when we would start operations. We follow closely with UNHCR to see when it would be the appropriate time for an intervention for post-primary education, because as you know, of course, the priorities are food, water, and shelter, and then primary schools. So the primary focus in the first 6 to 12 months of any displacement is focused on ensuring the protection of the refugees, including the refugee youth, which is the most vulnerable group. And so we follow that very closely with UNHCR, and when it's the right moment to intervene, meaning that when all the other priorities are addressed initially, we then step in and ensure hand in hand strategically with UNHCR and all of the international actors who are engaged, WFP as an example and all others, to ensure that we start a program of protection for the youth, the vulnerable youth, refugee youth, as well as the host communities who are affected by the displacement, and ensure that they are protected from recruitment into rebel groups or protected from any other harm's way, so to speak, and ensure that they are engaged in a program with us that's either informal or formal education. And once we conduct a needs assessment survey together again with the UN actors involved, we determine what's priority and develop an appropriate intervention, also with the participation of the affected communities.
Very good. And then one final question for you, out of curiosity. You mentioned hardware, software.
Yes.
What resources do you actually, put on the ground? Is it schools? Is it chairs? Is it just to get a feel for what really happens on the ground?
Anything and everything, actually. Whatever is appropriate. When we conduct the needs assessment survey, we determine what is necessary, whether it is hardware or software or a combination of both. And typically what we do is we draw the teachers from the refugee community, or sometimes from the host community as well. We teach languages to ensure that everyone is speaking the same language. We ensure that the curriculum that we teach is the curriculum of the Ministry of Education of the home countries, so that when the refugees repatriate, hopefully one day, and repatriate voluntarily, that what the education they have while they're in exile will be accredited, will be accepted when they return back home. And so we provide teachers training, we provide the formal or informal schools, whether it's bricks and mortar buildings or it's tents or it's literally building from the environment, you know, bricks can be twigs, trees, dirt, whatever is appropriate and most effective and most efficient. And our goal is to ensure that we have access to the greatest number, we provide access to the greatest number of students to be able to come and be protected and to have the education that they so desperately need, as well as to have the quality of education be the highest quality possible that would be accepted by the ministries of education.